Hello and welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today it's another Amityville movie. This time, the 36th movie to bear the Amityville name in the title. The 2021 movie, Amityville Cop. At this point, you just kind of have to learn to acknowledge the silliness of it, embrace the lunacy, and just stop questioning things. Currently we have on the docket, in some manner of production or another, Amityville Cop was just released, Amityville Germany, Amityville Hex, Amityville Clown, Amityville Shark House, the Amityville Legend, Amityville in the Hood, Amityville Exorcist, Amityville Karen, Amityville High, and the Amityville Rising. And I'm sure I've even missed some there, but those are the movies that are currently in some form pre, current, or post-production. So yeah, it's not going to end. As long as this is a franchise that can bear that name without any legal or financial implications, people are going to do it. And I'm going to review them. Such was the case with Amityville Cop, which is currently available on demand through Vimeo.com for $2.99 US. And here's the deal about this one. A lot of the Amityville videos are movies that have come out recently. Haven't just been bad, they've been woefully bad. They've crossed that line and entered into the ultimate sin of cinematic storytelling. They're boring. That's pretty much what they've come down to, is just characters with nothing more than just dialogue and exposition explaining the plot instead of actually showing us anything, and just filling time. And I gotta say, I was bracing myself for just such a journey with Amityville Cop. And the thing is, I found myself pleasantly surprised by this one. Make no mistake, I don't want to give any false impressions. This was a bad movie. This was not good. But I did have some fun with it. Directed by Gregory Hatanaka, who is the auteur behind such classics as Samurai Cop 2. This basically follows a murderous, demonic police officer who's killing people and the detectives that are on his trail. It kind of centers around two main detectives and the chief as they're within the confines of police headquarters in the city, and just generally trying to figure out what's going on, how to stop it, whether or not to even believe. Like, the only report that they even had about all this was from a alcoholic homeless man, so whether or not to even believe him and his story and so on. It just kind of turns into a bit of a quote-unquote investigation where the circumstances are just kind of dropped in their lap as the movie goes on. And just on a bullet point level, it's kind of sounding like it's repeating the last Amityville movie, the Amityville Moon with the werewolf. But I gotta say, unlike the Amityville Moon, this actually has a few things going for it. Principally and primarily, as far as that goes, the benefits of this movie is it actually has characters that were somewhat fun. At the very least, somewhat dynamic and engaging, which is a lot more than I can say for a lot of the previous entries, with characters that were basically just bland, stiff performances, offering us nothing more than the taste of schoolyard paste. Instead, this actually has some vibrancy to it. The characters have a little bit of a rapport going. It's not good characters. They're not terribly well written. They're pretty one-dimensional. The main character of Detective Miller is an absolute jackass, kind of channeling his inner Chris Tucker from Rush Hour without the actual, charisma. But even so, it was vibrant. He did riff off of people, and the performances didn't feel that stiff. I'm not going to say they were great, but they did feel somewhat natural. It's such a big component of this film that I honestly think it's going to be a little bit of a linchpin. If you're watching this film, if you're giving it a shot, and 10 minutes in, Jason Toller's performance of Detective Miller is grating on your nerves, it's not going to get any better, and maybe that's your exit point. But for me, I didn't think it was really that bad, and again, engaging. Somewhat natural, somewhat fun, and yeah, just a bit of a jackass, but a fun jackass. And another thing that I kind of found interesting, odd, but interesting, is this somewhat suffered from a constrained budget, but it still managed to rise above it in some pretty creative ways. It's pretty common in movies such as this to have stripped down cop uniforms where it's basically just the shirt with no patches, insignia, rank, name badges, anything attached to it. And that's very much the case here. However, it also doesn't seem like it was filmed in somebody's living room made to mock up a police station. It kind of felt more like a community center than an actual police station, but even so, there were elements of the set and the setting that I think kind of sold the film. And God bless this movie for actually trying to explain away some of the budget constraints. Things like the fact that this is taking place on New Year's Eve and they really want to do a big party. The captain's done a big party every year. It's just bigger and better every year. There's just tons of wine and dancing and so on and so forth. Oh, but the mayor called. He's going to limit all parties for New Year's to be 10 people or less. So instead, it's just 10 people milling around the office. You tend to save a little bit of money on extras when it's the mayor's orders. And this film is also rife with mistakes that honestly just kind of add that flavor to it. Like this guy here clearly drinking a very liquid beverage and not a stage prop of a glass of beer. But considering the schlocky nature of the plot, the one-dimensional characters, the couple dozen prop and set mistakes that were going on, I have to say that this offered a bit of campy fun, and as much as I really didn't think it would, I gotta give this, the Rotted Reviews, good bad movie seal of approval. There were some elements of this that did drag. For an hour and 8 long minute movie, which is a really short runtime, it's a little inexcusable for any areas to drag, but even so, considering I was expecting it to go from opening credits to closing credits, an entire one big drag, and it didn't, and it actually delivered some fast-paced fun in areas, this superseded my expectations. Unlike a lot of the Amityville entries so far, I do think this one would be a fun movie to watch with friends and just riff on it. It is worthy of that. It is fun in its own hammy way. So there you go. It's an Amityville movie that kind of managed to surprise me in its own oddball way. Thank you very much for watching this review. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.